A king raises his banner against his own people. A commoner leads an army and signs a death warrant for the crown. And decades later, the king's own daughter invites a foreign prince to invade. This isn't fantasy. It's the real story of how England beheaded its monarch, restored the throne, and then overthrew it again. This is how Britain created the rules for modern democracy, and it starts with war. In the early 1600s, King Charles I believed he answered only to God. Parliament believed he should answer to them. This clash of ideologies wasn't new, but under Charles, it reached a boiling point. Rather than compromise, Charles dissolved Parliament. For 11 years, he ruled alone, imposing taxes without approval and jailing opponents without trial. They called it the 11-year tyranny. Then he made a fatal mistake. He tried to force a new prayer book on Scotland. The Scots didn't just protest, they rebelled. Charles needed money to fight them. And to get money, he had to do the one thing he'd sworn off: call Parliament back. But now, they weren't just angry, they were ready to challenge the crown itself. In 1642, Charles raised his royal banner at Nottingham. That simple act signaled the start of the English Civil War. England was at war with itself. On one side, the Cavaliers, aristocrats and royal loyalists who believed in the divine right of kings. On the other, the Roundheads, a coalition of Puritans, merchants, and parliamentarians who wanted limits on royal power. And leading them? A landowner and devout Puritan named Oliver Cromwell. He wasn't a trained soldier, but he was a gifted strategist. He built the new model army, professional, disciplined, and driven by ideology. It wasn't just a military force. It was a revolution in uniform. The war raged across the country. Families were torn apart. Cities were besieged. At battles like Marston Moor and Naseby, Cromwell's forces proved unstoppable. In 1646, the king surrendered. But peace didn't follow. Charles secretly negotiated with the Scots and tried to reignite the war. Parliament was outraged. In their eyes, this wasn't just treachery, it was unforgivable. In 1649, Charles I was put on trial for treason against his own people. The courtroom was tense. No English monarch had ever faced a trial like this. Charles refused to recognize the court's authority, but the verdict was already decided. He was found guilty. And then, on a cold January morning, he walked onto the scaffold outside Whitehall Palace. The axe fell. A king was dead. England was now a republic. What followed was something entirely new. A country without a monarch. Power shifted to Parliament, but real control rested with one man, Oliver Cromwell. He became Lord Protector in 1653. Officially, he led a republic. In practice, he ruled like a military dictator. He cracked down on immoral behavior, closed theaters, and banned celebrations like Christmas. The Puritan vision of godliness came with strict enforcement. Some saw Cromwell as a savior of liberty. Others saw a tyrant in plain clothes. But power is fragile. When Cromwell died in 1658, he left the job to his son, Richard. Richard had none of his father's authority or charisma. Within months, the government collapsed. With no stable leadership, Parliament reached out to the one person who still had a claim to the throne, Charles II, the son of the executed king. In 1660, Charles II returned to England in triumph. Crowds cheered. Bells rang. The monarchy was back. But it wasn't the same. Charles II was clever. He knew not to push too hard. He played politics. He ruled with a smile. But his brother and heir, James II, lacked that caution. When Charles died in 1685, James took the throne. He was openly Catholic in a Protestant country, and he ruled as if that didn't matter. He appointed Catholics to key government and military positions. He suspended laws at will. He tried to build an alliance with Catholic France. And in 1688, his wife gave birth to a son, a Catholic heir. For many in England, that was the last straw. That same year, a group of 7 influential nobles reached out to William of Orange. William was the husband of James's Protestant daughter, Mary. They invited him to intervene, not with diplomacy, with an army. William agreed. In November 1688, he landed in England with 14,000 troops. James's army disintegrated. His allies defected. Even his own daughter turned against him. Within weeks, James fled to France. The crown had been taken without a single major battle. They called it the Glorious Revolution. In 1689, Parliament offered the throne to William and Mary, but on one condition. They had to accept the English Bill of Rights. It was more than just a document. It was a contract. No more taxes without Parliament's approval. No standing army during peacetime. No suspending laws by royal whim. And above all, no Catholic monarchs. The power of the monarchy had been permanently reduced. From now on, kings and queens would rule by law, not by divine right. The Civil War shattered the idea that the king was untouchable. The Glorious Revolution buried it. Together, they forged something new: constitutional monarchy. A government where the monarch reigns, but Parliament rules. That model would inspire political thinkers around the world. It laid the groundwork for modern democracies. From the American Revolution to modern-day parliamentary systems, the echoes of these events still shape our world. This wasn't just about kings and power. It was about who decides, who rules, and what makes a government legitimate. History isn't just what happened. It's how we got here.